Welcome to another deep dive. We're going to be digging into something really interesting today.
It is interesting.
Wong Kee Lung Chow chili oil. Have you heard of this?
I have. I've heard of this chili oil. Yeah.
So this is one of those things where it's like on the surface,
Yeah.
it's chili oil.
Yep.
Okay, we all know chili oil,
You're right.
but there's a lot more going on here. We're gonna dive into it.
There is, and it's a great example of a product that really speaks to a lot of the things that I think modern consumers are looking for.
Okay.
It's got this great story. It's got, a real focus on flavor, but also health.
Okay.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
So let's start with the story. So we have Gareth Wong.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be talking about his chili oil.
Yeah.
And it all starts back in the 1970s, Hong Kong.
Okay.
And Gareth grew up in his family's grocery store.
So we've got a real, origin story here, right? Like, this is rooted in family tradition in a specific time and place.
Wong Kee Lung. This is the name of the grocery store.
Wong Kee Lung. Yeah, and it wasn't just any grocery store. I mean, we're talking about 1970s Hong Kong. It was vibrant, it was bustling, and for Gareth, those sights, those smells, they became intertwined with family, with heritage, with a sense of place.
Yeah. So his family were economic migrants from Chiu, which is a region in China.
Right, and Chiu cuisine, it's got its own distinct flavors, its own culinary traditions, and you can really see that influence in Gareth's chili oil.
So he finds himself living in a very different world.
Yeah.
And then he starts to miss those authentic Chiu flavors.
It's like a form of culinary homesickness. And for Gareth, the answer wasn't just to, find a restaurant or order takeout. He wanted to recreate those flavors himself, to capture the essence of his childhood in a jar.
And this is what I love about this, is that it's not just him trying to recreate a flavor. He brings in this other thing that's so important to him.
Absolutely. And that's his own journey with health and well-being, right? Like, this is a guy who's passionate about what he eats and how it makes him feel.
Yeah.
And that comes through in his chili oil.
So he was very into fermented foods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he was way ahead of the curve on this. He was making his own kimchi, experimenting with sauerkraut, really diving deep into the world of fermentation.
Because those are really good for you.
Yeah, they are. That's the thing about fermented foods. They're not just trendy, they're rooted in tradition, and they offer some real benefits.
So the probiotics, that's the key here.
Probiotics, those live bacteria and yeast that are so good for our gut health. See, fermentation, it's this ancient technique where microorganisms break down the sugars in food.
Okay.
That's what gives you those tangy, complex flavors. And as a bonus, you get those good-for-you probiotics. So Gareth takes this age-old process and he incorporates it into this chili oil.
Wow.
Genius, right? He's bridging tradition and innovation in a way that just makes sense.
Okay, so we need to get into the ingredients because this is where it gets really interesting to me.
Oh yeah, it's a flavor adventure in a jar.
So first of all, we're starting with cold-pressed rapeseed oil.
Right. So not just any oil, but cold-pressed rapeseed oil. It's a traditional Chinese staple. It's got this lovely, light, nutty flavor that really lets the other ingredients shine through.
Okay, and then you've got leeks, you've got garlic.
Building those savory layers. Like, he's really thinking about the flavor profile here.
And then the star of the show, the fermented chili mix.
That's where the magic happens. That's where you get those live probiotics, that depth of flavor, that unique tang.
And then chili flakes.
Gotta have that kick.
And sesame oil.
Ah, sesame oil for that rich, nutty aroma.
And demerara sugar.
Just a touch of sweetness to balance out the heat.
Gluten-free soy sauce.
Adding that umami richness.
Fresh ginger.
A final burst of freshness. It's like he's orchestrated a symphony of flavors.
That's amazing. I love that he uses all natural ingredients, by the way.
Absolutely, and no artificial additives here. He's really committed to using high-quality ingredients and traditional technique.
Which is fantastic. Vegan, gluten-free.
Accessible to so many.
This is checking a lot of boxes, right?
It really is. He's showing that healthy food can be delicious and accessible to everyone.
Okay, so we have this chili oil. How did it even get out of his kitchen?
Right. It all started with him sharing it with friends and family, right? Just this, taste of his heritage, his passion for wholesome food.
Right.
But word of mouth is a powerful thing. People tasted this chili oil, and they were hooked.
And then all of a sudden, he's at SIAL Paris.
SIAL Paris, one of the biggest food innovation exhibitions in the world.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think he went from sharing this with, a small circle to showcasing it on a global stage.
I mean, from your kitchen to SIAL Paris is quite a jump.
It is, and it really speaks to the power of authenticity and a good product.
People must have really, really loved it.
They did. And I think it was more than just the taste. People were drawn to the story.
The story. Yeah.
The passion, the heritage, all of it.
And the fact that it's good for you. Like, you can indulge, and it's actually, it's not bad for you.
Exactly. It's like you can feel good about eating something so delicious.
SIAL Paris. I mean, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Like, we're not talking about just, setting up a booth at a local farmer's market.
Right.
This is an international stage with buyers and industry experts from all over the world.
So I'm curious, when he goes to SIAL Paris, is he going there with, like, a finished product? Is he ready to, like, launch into, supermarkets worldwide?
That's what's interesting. He wasn't going in with, like, a big marketing blitz or anything. He was really there to kind of observe,
Okay.
connect with people, see how they responded to his chili oil.
Oh, so he was testing it out.
Exactly. Like, he believed in his product, but he also wanted to see how it resonated with a wider audience.
And what did they think?
Well, from what I understand, people were really drawn to it, and not just because of the taste.
I was going to say, was it just the taste, or was it the story?
It was the whole package.
Yeah.
You've got this unique product with this amazing story behind it. It's authentic, it's personal, and I think people really respond to that.
Especially these days.
Yeah.
Like, people want to know where their food comes from. They want it to have a story.
Absolutely. And Gareth's story, it's so compelling. He talks about growing up in his family's grocery store, about those Chow flavors he missed, about his wife being his, like, chief taste tester.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that he, like, brings his wife into it.
It just adds this personal touch. Like, you can tell this isn't just a business for him, it's a passion project.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the chili oil as, like, a flavor enhancer.
Okay.
So how does he describe it?
He's very clear that it's not meant to overpower. It's meant to complement. He wants the other flavors to shine through.
So it's not, like, super spicy?
It's got a kick, but it's balanced. He's really thoughtful about the flavor profile. It's not just about heat. It's about adding depth, complexity, that umami richness.
It's interesting, like, bringing it back to his whole thing with health and wellness, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's taken those principles and he's bottled them.
It's true. Like, he's not just jumping on a trend. He was already living and breathing these principles. Experimenting with fermented foods, understanding the benefits. It comes from a genuine place.
And he even talks about, like, processed foods.
Right.
And, like, how a lot of the stuff that's marketed as healthy actually isn't.
Yeah, he's pretty vocal about that. And I think it's an important message. We need to be more aware of what we're putting into our bodies.
Yeah.
Reading labels, understanding ingredients. And I think his chili oil is a great example of how we can, make healthier choices without sacrificing flavor.
Absolutely. So we have this chili oil, all these incredible ingredients, this great story. But what's it like to actually eat it?
All right, so imagine this. You've got a simple bowl of noodles,
Okay.
maybe some vegetables. You drizzle this chili oil on top, and as you take a bite, you get this slow build of heat from the chilies. But it's not overwhelming. It's balanced out by that touch of sweetness from the demerara sugar.
Okay.
And then you've got that savory depth from the gluten-free soy sauce, that umami richness. And then, just when you think you've got it all figured out, you get this little burst of freshness from the ginger.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing.
It really is an experience, and the beauty of it is it's so versatile.
Okay.
You can drizzle it on noodles, sure, but you can also use it on roasted vegetables, stir it into soups, use it as a marinade for tofu or tempeh. The possibilities are pretty endless.
Wow. So this is truly, like, you can use it for anything.
It's a real flavor enhancer, and I think that speaks to the balance he's achieved with those ingredients. It's not just about one flavor dominating.
Right.
It's about all of those flavors working together to create something really special.
Which kind of brings us back to his initial goal, right? Like, to share a taste of his heritage.
Exactly. To share that Chow culinary tradition in a way that's accessible and beneficial and absolutely delicious.
And it's really cool that he's been able to do that, to take something so personal and share it with the world.
It is really cool. And it's a reminder that sometimes the simplest things, like a jar of chili oil, can be the most powerful.
Definitely. It really is amazing when you think about it. This chili oil, it's more than just a condiment.
It really is. It's, like you said, a story, a heritage, a commitment to health.
Yeah, and I think it makes you wonder, what if we approached all food this way?
Right. What if we thought about the story behind our food, the traditions, the impact on our well-being? I think it would change our relationship with food completely.
I think so too. It's like he's opened up like a whole new way of thinking about food with just this jar of chili oil.
He's definitely started a conversation. And it's a conversation worth having, because this isn't just about chili oil. It's about recognizing that food can be so much more than just fuel.
Yeah. It could be a connection to our past, to our culture, to our health.
Absolutely. And to each other. You know, food brings people together. It always has.
It does. And it's funny, like that old saying, food is medicine.
Right.
Like he's actually doing that.
He's living it. And it's not about, following some strict diet or depriving yourself.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices, enjoying what you eat, and understanding that food can be both delicious and good for you.
Yeah, and maybe like by incorporating more fermented foods into our diets.
Like this chili oil.
Like this chili oil, exactly. Maybe we could start to feel those benefits ourselves.
I think it's worth a try.
It is. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Wong Kee Lung Chow chili oil,
It's been a flavorful journey.
I'm left feeling kind of inspired, to be honest, because it shows that you can really make a difference with something you're passionate about, even if it seems small, like a jar of chili oil.
It's a powerful reminder.
So to everyone listening, if there's something you're passionate about,
Don't be afraid to share it with the world.